Welcome to Readings with Abe. Today, we will be discussing and reading the final excerpt from Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East by Baird T. Spalding, Volume 2. Today's excerpt is titled With All My Strength, and the previous episodes were kind of leading up into this, and so at the end we'll do an overall discussion of all of these episodes in the series so far, including this one, and hopefully we'll come to some sort of conclusion about what it all means and what it's all about and that sort of thing. So, without further ado, here it is. With all my strength. No act or thought of mine shall deny that I have already received in spirit the fulfillment of my desire, and it is now brought forth into perfect visibility. In spirit, in soul, in mind, in body, I am true to my desire. I have perceived my good in spirit. I have conceived it as a perfect idea in soul, and I have given true thought form to my desire. I now bring into visibility or true manifestation my perfect desire. I thank you, Father, that I now have love, wisdom, and understanding, life, health, strength, and eternal youth, harmony, happiness, and abundant prosperity. And the method of bringing forth from the universal substance that which I satisfy every good desire. Alright, so what does that all mean? Good question. I believe that coming from the beginning of these guides to manifest reality. We didn't read into this before, but before this we're kind of talking about how to bring the idea, or to conceive heaven on earth, to really bring forth the goodness and beauty and love that we think about as being ideal, and bringing it into this reality. And another way of thinking about this is also the law of attraction, which we've heard about through a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into depth in that because if you're interested or you haven't heard about it, you can find out on your own. There's tons of interesting stuff. But I've always been interested in why does it work or not? Because some people think it's, you gotta believe in it. Some people don't believe in this law of attraction. And so why on earth does it work for some people and not other people? Well, because not everyone goes through all the steps. Some people just try to manifest without really getting to the source, which is what I'm very interested in right now. Getting to the source of the universal substance that we've been talking about. And so, we started out by opening up to this idea in our hearts. The first one is with all my heart. And we bring up the Father, and the Father is referring not to a being or necessarily one guy creating this big plan. It's not containable to something that man can really perceive, and so we call it the Father of life, the life essence, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. Once we open up to that, we open ourselves to the life substance in our hearts, we can recognize things like the Spirit. And that kind of brings us into the next section, which is titled With All My Soul. And this one is kind of about accepting yourself as being more than just this meat here, and the idea of the spirit, and how your spirit can now relate to that universal substance that you've already opened yourself up to in your heart. And so that's what that's all about. These two things are crucial. You got to do this in order to then start working on the things that will manifest your desire. And so that leads us into the third excerpt that we filmed, called With All My Mind. After you've already prepared yourself by opening up, now you can harness that energy through thought. And with your thought, you can come up with ideas and desires and things that you want to create in your life, things that you can create in your life. And so this is about opening yourself up to the beginning of that creative process and manifesting it in a way that is kind of ahead of the game, in a sense. You're thinking about it as if it's already there, it's already been created, it's already done, because you know on a soul level that it's already there. And so that's what you're working on in this section, bringing it into your mind and thinking about how you're going to create it. Now, with all my strength, the one we just read, this is probably the most important one. And as far as, talking about why it works or doesn't work for some people, it's called With All My Strength, I think, because in order to carry through with the full process to completion, you need a lot of strength. You need to be true in your thought. You need to be sturdy and rooted and focused on what you want to create. And your spirit has to be along with that too. And so a lot of times when we're trying to do this, we have outside forces that affect our plan, our desire. And these things are like negative thoughts, negative emotions, and other people who have an effect on these things in your life. And so in order to not be affected by these things and let them sort of ruin your great plan, the best way is to stay strong, and be strong in your beliefs, be strong in your spirit, in your soul, in your heart, and in your plan. Because when you are connected in your heart to yourself and the universal substance, then when you want to create something, it just by default is going to be something good, something beautiful that is beneficial for you and all of life, all of your children, all of the Father's children, as it says in this book. And that's all life. And so I hope you've enjoyed this series. It was, to me, very linked to the law of attraction. I'd love to know what it means to you. And if you're interested in reading the entire volume series, it's 6 volumes, check it out. I'm sure it's available on things like Amazon and stuff like that. So it's really very exciting. There's a lot of good stuff. And it's more of a journal, really. So it's not like he's coming up with these ideas, this Bayard guy. He's just writing it down. So that's a really exciting part about it. I hope you've enjoyed. This has been the 4th episode of this series of Readings with Abe. I'm sure we will continue in the future. So feel free to subscribe and have a good day.